Tony. That was like climbing a fucking tree. How y'all doing? It's great to be here. You know, on the way here, I was driving here on my cell phone and got a CNN breaking news. It really happened. That Sheriff Joe Arpaio was told by a federal judge that he can no longer pull over Hispanics for racial profiling. He can no longer do that. It's over. So I was driving, I was like, I feel pretty safe now. You know, so I got to tell you that it's so great to be here. Tony played for the NFL, he played for the Packers and the Colts, as we know. Being Jewish, I know my place in professional sports. I'm the owner. I grew up in a strict Jewish household. Now you could get bad grades, you could even get in a fight. But if you dare pay full retail for anything, you got sent to your room for a week. Terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair. The four horsemen, you say. No, that's just a weekend with my Jewish mother. We have a big book, for those of you in the program. We have a book, and there's 164 pages which tells us how to get sober and how to stay sober. But after that, there's another page. There's more pages. There's page 165, which not a lot of people open. I opened it. It said page 165. However, if your mother is a Jewish narcissistic woman, throw out the 164 pages and start drinking quickly. So between all of us comics here, we have over 123 years and 143 days of sobriety. I'm 143 days. But I've always wanted to include myself in those numbers. It's probably the only way it's going to happen. And you know, I felt like at some point during my sobriety that, you know, my back pain that happened all the time was just necessary for narcotics. And so I would go to doctors shopping, and I was like, I went into a doctor once and I'm like, doctor, my ankle, it's hurting, it's sprained, I need something. He looked at it, he said, your ankle's fine, put some ice on it and take an aspirin. So I went out of the office, I went to my car, I slammed it in the door, I hobbled back in, I said, I want a fucking second opinion. So there are a lot of alcoholics here. Are there people that are not in AA? You sir. You sir, you like to drink? No, who likes to drink? You like to drink. What's your name? Jim. Jim likes to drink. And when you drink, you're okay with it, right? All right, Jim, that's a fucking lie. This is your intervention. The whole family is in the green room. We can shut this place down. Thank you all for coming. These are all actors. Okay, Jim, you're being whisked off the treatment right now. A lot of people from AA, let me hear you. They're here to recruit. We get points in AA. We get free shit. Are there any alcoholics in here that drink? Not alcoholics, are people that drink that are also Jewish or Catholic. That's double points. Mommy issues? You all have mommy issues. And daddy issues. Okay, so I've been to 7 treatment centers. 7. And I never went to another one after the 7th. And I didn't get sober, my insurance ran out. I went to my first treatment center, my mom showed up for Family Week, which I gotta tell you should be called, You're Not in Our Family Week. She showed up as my mother can only do. Robbie, an alcoholic. An alcoholic? You're Jewish, you're supposed to have an eating disorder. Mom, calm down. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a crackhead. Mom, that crack is an amazing drug. It's the only drug I know that makes you steal from yourself. You start off with your binge, and there's a refrigerator over there, there's a TV there. When you're gone, the refrigerator's gone, the TV's gone, but I still have a stand, so I must not have a problem. Now you people that drink normally, you do not you do not have an issue like I do, but when you go to buy a television, you do it differently than a crackhead does. You go for the brilliance, the color of the screen, the size of the picture. I just care how much the thing weighs because I'm walking it over to the pawn shop one day. When I got to the pawn shop, it was scary. The guy looked at me and said, "Rob, just put it over there with your other stuff." That pawn shop looked like my living room. So I'm also in the mortgage business. In the mortgage business in 2005, anyone could buy a house with no credit or no money. That's how we got into this problem. And everyone was doing it. Sort of like this. "Hey, Jim, what are you doing? You want to go buy a Blu-ray at Best Buy for $200 on credit?" "No, man, I don't got no credit. I ain't got no money." "Let's go buy a house." But at the end, people were just giving their houses back to the bank, foreclosing, the values were going down. But they were still driving their car, that the values went down on their car. You know why? Because you can sleep in your car, but you can't drive your house. Exactly. So I want to leave you with this, that yesterday I went golfing. And when I went golfing, I was with a friend of mine who took me to a nice course. And he hit the ball in the woods. I mean, in the desert. Hit the ball in the desert. And he wasn't going to get it. And I was like, you know what? You took me out here. I'm going to go look for your ball in the desert. So I went out to the desert. I'm walking through the desert. I can't see his ball. I turn around. All of a sudden, something grabs onto my ankle. Like I thought I got bit by a snake. It hurt so bad. And it was one of those fucking choyas. Like a cactus. Okay? So the first thought that went through my mind was, ow! The second thought was Vicodin. I'm like wired that way. Jim, you don't do that. No, you do. Get to the fucking room. You do that. Don't let Jim in your medicine cabinet. So I was like this, I can't do anything. These guys, they pull it off me. It's a horrible experience. I'm pulling the needles out of my leg, and all I'm thinking about is my putt. Okay, so I sink my putt. Well, I didn't sink it, but it sounds better. I missed my putt. I get up to the next hole, and these guys, I'm like hobbling. I'm like, you know what? It really hurts. They look at me and they go, well, why don't you take some pain medicine? Why don't you take some Vicodin? I go, I can't do that. And they said, well, why not? Now, I didn't want to go into my whole drug-a-log, so I just skipped to the chase. I'll steal your car. I'm not Spector.